Hello, y'all. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Inspired by Promise fam. I am so grateful that you have taken the time to come back to the channel. I hope you have enjoyed the episodes that we have had thus far. I've heard that they have been blessing people. People have been sending them to people on their phone and giving them texts and saying, hey, you have to check this out. So I'm so glad. And on today, I'm glad we're back. I know we've been gone for a little bit, but we are back and I'm glad to be back with you. So make sure you like, make sure you are commenting, and as well as you're hitting that button right there that says subscribe to be able to keep up to date on all the amazing videos. We're going to be having some new content coming to you guys. So I'm super excited about that. But on today, I'm really pumped. Y'all know I'm always excited about everything, right? But I'm excited because I have one of my aunties here. We got the first installment of one of my aunties on the first show. Now we're going ahead and have another one of my aunties on here. She's going to be having an amazing discussion, like an amazing dialogue. I absolutely love her. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, y'all, before I go ahead and let her roar. All right. So Dana Long retired from the federal government in February. She also retired from the Air Force in 2005. Dana has a graduate degree in acquisitions management and an undergraduate degree in business administration. She's active in her community, an avid investor, and is now, I'm pumped about this, the co-founder of NextGen, a knowledge sharing generational wealth organization. Dana and her husband, the late George Long, have a daughter and two grandsons. I'm really excited to bring to the Promise family Auntie Dana. Hey!
Hi, I am very excited and very proud of Inspired by Promise. This is going to be a phenomenal channel. I'm excited about it.
Yay! I'm so glad that you are here and you said yes. I'm super excited. So I'm ready to get into it. It's going to be awesome. So I want to find out a little bit about you and what your background. I want the people as well as on this channel to know. Let's know a little bit about you, about your background. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm what they call a military brat. I am the oldest child of four. Well, now one had passed away. Of three sisters, I have two sisters, and I'm the oldest. And I grew up in a sheltered military family. We traveled all over the world. My mother didn't work outside the house until I was 9 years old. And unfortunately, my parents divorced when I was 15. My mother signed me up into the Air Force when I turned 17. And so my least favorite question when I was going through basic training was, where am I from? I did not like that question at all.
Wow.
My father and I, my first duty station, my father and I were stationed at Fayetteville, North Carolina at the same time. So you can imagine I was very tortured.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, my second duty station was in San Antonio, Texas, where I started my family. And we lived on base. So when I dropped our daughter off to daycare, which I nicknamed baby jail, the people that took care of my daughter, our daughter rather, was basically our neighbors. And my daughter was born in 1985, where people were doing bad things to children. So I was very blessed to have my neighbors who I knew take care of our daughter. And again, she was just up the street from where I worked, and we lived on base. Um, like I said, when half of my paycheck went to daycare, I decided one child was enough. Now, before I got married, my husband had 8 godchildren. So you can imagine we were very busy.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So our daughter went to private school until we came into the Washington, D.C. area. And both of my parents and my husband are now deceased. So just to give you a little bit of background.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Wow. Listen. Wow. This, y'all, I don't know. Make sure you, real quick, make sure y'all have shared this with somebody because I know this is going to be good, good. It's going to bless somebody's whole life. All right. So make sure you guys are sharing this with your friends. Well, I'm glad to get to know a little bit inside of you, inside of your life. And so, as y'all heard, she is retired. Okay, capital R, retired. And so, I want to know what made you decide to retire 10 years early. Like, you're young, okay, Auntie. I call you Auntie because you're young, all right? I'm just like, wait a minute, why?
Well, when people say retired, they have visions of people no longer being useful. So,
Mm.
just like the military retirement pay, I wanted to use the civil service retirement pay as another stream of portfolio or passive income. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur full time. So this just allowed retiring from civil service just allowed me to use these benefits to pursue my passion, my real dream.
Wow. Wow. So this is the real, we're in the next phase. We're in the real dream. Okay. I'm loving it. And so because you retired early, because you took that leap and said, I want to be able to fulfill my dream of being an entrepreneur, doing that, how did you prepare for retirement? Since you retired early, I know there had to be lots of preparation that went into it. And so maybe you can help somebody that might be watching the channel or might know somebody that wants to retire early. How did you start preparing for it?
Okay. What I would recommend for anyone that is going to retire, I used to make this joke, you plan for your retirement when you start work. but for me, but for me, I started about 10 years ago. And the way the civil service is set up, they tell you based on your years of service or what program you're in, exactly how you would be compensated and how your benefits would play out at the time. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
So I knew I needed to be prepared, but I was eligible last September. But my real goal was to retire in 2023.
Wow.
So you say, well, how did I prepare? So what I did was I said, okay, these are the things I wanted to learn from what other people did and some of the challenges that they had. So the first thing I wanted to do was plan on how I would get rid of all of the debt that I have to include the homes that I had. And I
Okay.
wanted to save 10 years worth of income. And again, I went to the retirement seminars to do the planning. Now, you may say, well, Dana, why did you um, try to save 10 years of income? You never know what's going to happen. And so the 10 years was just place to, a comfortable place to fall if something should happen. That was my backup plan. So getting rid of the debt was actually pretty easy. If you anybody has ever seen, there's a term, it's called, and it escapes me just at this moment, but it's what happens when we go into debt and how it snowballs. I just did what we call reverse engineering, and I'll remember what it is in a minute.
Okay.
But I just did some reverse engineering.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Man, that is wow. So y'all that want to retire early, go ahead, take those notes. Take those notes. Using the wellness wheel, what are, and maybe we might want to even go ahead and define what the wellness wheel is for maybe some people that might want to be like, that sounds good. What are the habits that you attributed to your success?
Okay, when we talk about the wellness wheel, it's actually to help us become more balanced. So
Mm.
it can go from spiritual to intellectual to occupational to environmental. There's like 8 wellness wheels, and I actually talk about it in my blog. I'm actually getting ahead of myself, but it's a good thing to know so that you're not balanced, that you're balanced. And the term that I was looking for was compound interest.
Okay,
So
okay.
that was the term I was looking for. But what I did was I took a look at the entire wellness wheel, which I learned at a meetup to make sure that I was balanced, that I had everything I need. So when I talk about some of the things that I did, it kind of will help, I think will help your audience understand that it's more than just one thing. And sometimes you can be off balance if you're not paying attention.
Mm,
So the first thing I did um, is look at my emotional wellness. So what I had to do is I first had to forgive myself for anything that I did, and then I had to forgive others.
mm,
If I didn't forgive myself and others, I actually would be holding myself back. And I felt that that would restrict my blessings if I didn't do that.
mm, mm, mm.
So forgiving myself and forgiving others is the first thing I had to do. And I
Mm,
also had to keep a positive mental attitude, even when sometimes I didn't feel like it. And that
mhm,
actually worked for me because when I would go to work and people would ask, would say, I would always say good morning to everyone, whether they spoke back to me or not. And I always was upbeat. I was always positive because you never knew what the other person was going through.
that's
And the
right.
more positive I spoke, the better I felt during the day.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Y'all heard that? The more positive you speak, whatever you speak, death and life are in the power of your tongue. So whatever you're gonna say out, we'll feel better. So start speaking some good positive, some affirming things, y'all. That is so good. Really quickly, Auntie, I know this wasn't on our it hit me in my head like, ooh, I forgot to ask because we're a channel that loves to have fun. And speaking of balance, do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, I do. I mean, I do. I have more than one favorite movie, but
Okay, give me
this,
your top.
um, I was gonna say Head of State, and the only reason is because of the music.
I love it. I love it.
But today might not be the day to say that.
It
But
might not,
that's
you know. Okay, what's your second one?
mm, Grease.
Grease. Okay.
Actually, that is my daughter's all-time favorite. Is
Oh,
Grease.
really?
Again, the music.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, we were talking about balance and it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. I always ask my guests like a fun question. So, okay, I love it. Greece and Head of State. Okay, I actually love Head of State too. That's one of my movies on my list. I love Head of State. It's just a funny movie. I like Chris Rock. It's just it's just a funny movie. Okay, so I'm glad y'all got a little sneak peek of some fun that Auntie Dana likes to have. All right. Um, I love it. And so in bringing back to balance and this learning, you saying that emotional wellness, that overall, making sure that you're well emotionally. What do you define as success? So now we have checked our emotional wellness. We checked, that we want to be able to achieve, this goal or this vision or whatever it might be. How do you define success, being successful?
Okay. Now, before I get to that, I actually had some more, on, if I could, on the
Sure.
wellness wheel.
Of course.
That's actually going to be the biggest one. So, I will end it with spiritual, and that's why people kind of understand.
Okay.
So, on the physical, again, these are the things that I needed to do right, but when I made up my mind to retire, or something I was trying to do all along. These are the things that I needed to do.
Mhm.
Physically, I had to make sure that all my medical and dental um, appointments were taken care of. And I'm actually glad that I did all of this before the pandemic because I'm a big believer in preventative medicine. I have so many people that wouldn't go to the doctors for the regular checkup. In the military, there was no excuse. You had your annual physical, your
Mhm.
blood work, and your I think it was every 6 months you had their dental. So
Okay.
I was a big believer in preventive medicine, and it helped me because I knew that if there was corrections that need to be made, I could make them before they put me on medication or they found some other situations. So I found, like, for example, if I had my tooth was bothering me, I'm
Mhm.
thinking something bad is going to happen. And it took something really simple that they took care of because they were able to address it early. So I would ask your audience to please make sure that you take care of your physical health. That is more important than money than anything else.
Mhm.
I enjoy working out daily, um, whether it be walking or working on the treadmill on the inclement days. It helped me clear my mind, especially if I was upset about something. and also come up with some really great ideas. And before the pandemic, I used to get massage therapy every other week.
Wow. Okay.
Um, it's really good, especially if you work out. So to get massage therapy, I actually had to work out. So that was that's what I had to do. I stopped eating fast food. Now, believe it or not, fast food is very expensive if you look at it. And I also, because I used a app that had me write down everything that I ate and drank, I also realized that even the most innocent item had a lot of sodium in it. One
Mm.
breakfast sandwich on one of the fast food um, items actually had as much sodium as I needed throughout the whole day.
Oh no.
So yes, ma'am. So I am a big meal prep person, and that actually helped me again during the pandemic because I was making my own food, making it in the correct portions,
Mm.
and I also supplemented my food. I made sure I took the multivitamins and things like that. It actually does work. Now, the thing that I need to work on is hydrating my body. I'm working on that. So pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. Also, emotionally, I stopped watching TV, especially the news, because I found this out in the late '80s. I used to watch soap operas a lot, and I
Mhm.
found myself getting depressed. And so when I started going to college, I wasn't able to watch TV as much. So I didn't miss it. So when I read a book, I do a lot of reading, especially for information as well as enjoyment. I realize the TV doesn't have, I mean, the book doesn't have commercials. And the commercials are just
I
another
like.
way to get you to buy something, okay?
Yeah.
So, and don't don't judge me, but I also don't watch sports. And one of the reasons is because I don't have a financial interest. I don't own a team, and no one I know is playing. So, and they're not sending me any money. So, forgive me. Um, to me, it was a form of escapism.
Wow.
So, and again, the TV is there to market to you. So,
Mm.
okay. Um, So, and I'm also goal oriented. I only borrow money for investments.
Mm.
And when I found out that children cost $250,000, at first it was 100,000, but $250,000, I decided to stop at one. Forgive me, daughter. I love you.
Wait
Well,
a minute. She said no one is enough.
yeah, she has friends and cousins. Um, and I didn't spend money before I got it. So if I used a credit card, it was for money I already had in the bank. These are some of the things I had to learn to do.
Wow. Okay.
Also, I had to surround myself with upward and positive people. I needed to be around people that helped me grow. It is, um, I will say earlier, before I was saved in 1991, it didn't bother me to be with people that were my contemporaries because when something bad happened, we all commiserated with each other. But to grow, I had to be with someone that could propel me to help me grow. So I had to be with people that made me feel uncomfortable. The people that, what I mean by uncomfortable, they they pulled me up. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I had to be a student. The people that I wanted to be around.
That's so good.
Um, I had to follow through with all of my ideas. If I had an idea, I shouldn't stifle it. I shouldn't say, "Oh, I had this idea to do something." I shouldn't restrict myself. I should go for it. If I don't make it, I don't make it. But the guarantee of not making it is don't even bother trying. So I didn't restrict myself.
Mm.
Let's see. I didn't stop and waited for someone to help me. Again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I found that when I stopped talking about it and started doing it, that people started showing up to help me. But I
Wow.
didn't wait for them. And again, I always look for ways to improve and I read more. I'm not perfect and I'm not going to propose to be perfect, but I know that I'm always trying and I always will.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I had to take personal responsibility for my actions. I had to stop blaming others. My life is 10% of what happens to me and 10% of how I handled it. If something was a little bit too much for me to handle, I did all I could do, and then I just gave it to God. I said, listen, I did all I could do, um, all I thought to do. I prayed that He put people there that could help me, but I took responsibility and I made sure that I did what I was supposed to do. It wasn't easy, it hurt. There were many nights that I cried, but I did it.
Mm, that's so
So,
good.
and then last but not least, spiritually, I wanted to make a difference. Why am I here? I wanted to leave the world better than when I came. I
Mm,
wanted to be an ambassador for my Christian faith. So when someone saw, they wanted an example of a real Christian and the way, the path to follow, I wanted to be that example. I didn't want to be perfect. I didn't want them to see perfect, but they saw somebody that was always trying.
mm.
That's what I have.
I love it, y'all. I hope you are listening. This is so good. You are dropping so many nuggets for life, for finances. I know we're going to get to that in a little bit, but you are dropping so many nuggets. It's so good. So many pearls of wisdom, as I call them. You're dropping so many. So in speaking, and even in all of those areas, because we can be successful, like you said, it's important that we are trying. It's not that we are perfect, but that we are trying, that we are pushing, for the more. And in wanting to push, how do you define being successful? What does success look like to you? Because someone can say, well, you telling me all these awesome things that you're doing, like that's successful. Or we look at maybe certain individuals and call that success. What is it that you define as saying, okay, that's successful? Because I can even say what you just have even said is to know that you're trying. It's to know that you're taking the moment and not quitting and not backing up. Because I can raise my hand. It's much easier to help somebody else. It's much easier to say, oh, I'm good. I let me applaud everyone else. It's another thing to push yourself to say, you know what, I have to do this. And that is the beginning, really, of being successful as an individual in whatever area of life. So what are you saying that we see as your definition of being successful, Auntie?
Okay. Dana's definition of success, I can sum it up in kind of one sentence:
Mm-hmm.
doing what I want to do, not what I have to do.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Doing what I want to do, not what I have to do. If I go to
Mm,
work, it's because I want to, not because I have to.
wow. Doing what you want to do
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you have to do. That's so good. So y'all know that's Auntie Dana's definition of success. Okay, y'all. That is her definition, and I am loving it because it's wow. That's so good. Oh, that's so good. Well, it's speaking of success. I am excited because you have some amazing things going on, and I want to know about next gen. I want to know about this awesome part of your purpose that you have begun. Just a couple months ago, we went on ahead and you said, hey, I'm going for this. I'm gonna be successful in this lane. So I want to be able to know about what is next gen.
Okay. Next Gen is actually a website, and we use it as a place to share knowledge. And this is knowledge from those that know to those that seek to know. And
Mm.
so, but it goes through all the generations, if you will. And I think, even in talking to you from a different generation, I have learned so much from you. So there can be a different way of doing something that a boomer could learn from a millennial, and vice versa.
That's good. That's so good. Wow. That's good. Oh my goodness. So what why I want to know why you started, because I love that you want to be able to be cross generational and being able to reach um so many. What made you start it? What was that defining moment that said, "Hey, okay, this is why I have to start this next gen"?
Well, I was realizing that I'm actually on the tail end of the baby boomers.
Okay.
The baby boomers, um, um, they turned 56 this year, so I'm at the tail end. So I noticed that a lot of baby boomers or older people were leaving the workplace, and they were actually taking their knowledge with them, so that the Generation X and the millennials and even some um, um, Zoomers or Generation Z, a
Mhm.
lot of them didn't know how to function
Mm.
because the boomers and a lot of the Generation X people, they didn't have the they didn't have the social media, they didn't have the computers that you have now. When I was at work, when I graduated with my master's degree, it was before we had Windows. But the Department of Defense did have intranet, so I was familiar with that. So all of the gadgets that made my life easier, that replaced so many things, I had people that were in subsequent generations that didn't know how to do things. If
Wow.
they didn't have their phone, if they didn't have a calculator, could not do simple math instructions.
Mm.
Another thing is that I kept hearing over and over again, well, they didn't teach that in school. We didn't learn that in school. No one taught me that. And I found that a lot of them, as lovely as they didn't have a lot of critical thinking skills. They would say something and I would ask them something that required them to give me an answer that required critical thinking, and they had difficulty with it. So I wanted to bring that back. You still have your opinion, but you have to know why you have that opinion. It has to be backed up by something. Because I'm going to ask you the question why.
Right, right. Wow. That's good. And for this information, Auntie, I know we're gonna give it a little bit later. Is it bigger than just the blog? Do we have Is it only in written form only where we can read online? Or do we have, another apparatus that people can be able to hear, maybe some of this amazing knowledge that we're just tapping into just a little bit on today?
Thank you for asking. Again, not only am I and other boomers giving knowledge, we also have to receive knowledge, and we have to receive the way that we can communicate it to the subsequent generations. So we have the website,
Okay.
we have the blog, we call it Boomer Blogs, that's inside the website.
Mhm.
We have grown to a YouTube channel out.
Woo!
And again, we're actually getting all the people with all the knowledge in there. And as of I think last week, we actually showed up on Instagram. So
Woo!
we're trying. We're really trying hard.
I love it. Oh, that's so good. And y'all, I have been fortunate enough that I am a part that next gen team that Auntie Jen is talking about. I have been blessed to be able to be a part of that. And I'm not just like, I am grateful. And so it's so many amazing nuggets that I am learning. It's just a bonus that I have the opportunity to be able to spread. She's like, no, you have it, Ariel. You could spread this knowledge and give some motivation. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I'm learning like so much. So make sure you guys, I'm going to make sure to put all of the information below in the description. That way you guys can check out the channel from Millennial Mode Mondays to being Freedom Fridays, like, and everything in between. Okay. We've had some amazing content that Ozzy Dana has been putting out. And so make sure you guys, I'll put it in the description, make sure you check it out. But in that, we have the blog, you have the website, you have the YouTube channel. Now we even on the gram, which I love. What other projects are upcoming? What is up next for next gen?
Well, actually, this is kind of dictated by the comments that you receive with your fabulous Motivational Monday. I think because I get to listen to it more than some people do, and it actually got into my spirit and it made me do more. So I am just loving the Motivational Monday. Thank you so much. Such a blessing.
Oh, I'm not gonna cry on this good Inspired by Promise channel. I am grateful. It is one thing I always take a moment, y'all, even in this year. Know that these are the moments that matter, that I have been learning that matter more than anything. To be able to be a blessing through your life, through my light, that's it. Like wanting to see people succeed and win, that's it. This is the key. And so I'm grateful because when you submit, and I'm putting my nugget in here, but when you submit, when you're obedient, when you don't try to make your own way prosperous, but you have somebody, which I met Auntie Dana through another one of my aunties, because I had to be the light in another. I had no idea, I had no clue that she was talking of me in such a great, a great magnitude. But it's like, I'm telling you, God will order your steps if you continue to, one, trust him, but to be able to put yourself in that place where you're not trying to force anything, but it happens organically, it happens God naturally. Like you're not trying to force anything. These are the results you're gonna have, and that's, I'm praying that for y'all. Don't try to force anything. Let God do it, because he's gonna do it, and he's going to do it well. Well, I still we have still a few moments left. Make sure you guys are commenting with some of those good comments. I want to know. I have two questions left, and I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. Thoroughly enjoyed myself with Auntie Dana. What is the one thing? We're talking inspired by promise. We're here where you're keeping your promises to God in every area of your life. So we'll get to promises before we leave. But what is one thing that you would tell your younger self?
Um, do it afraid.
Mm, wow.
That's usually what holds a lot of us back because we're afraid. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of what other people might say, what other people might do. If
Mhm.
you see someone that you perceive as successful, what you perceive is the end result. You do not see the journey. You don't see for example, when we went through college, I think you were telling me you had a situation with your computer.
Yes.
I remember those days. Now remember, I didn't have Windows and I have a graduate degree. I remember sitting in front of a blue screen. That's for the old heads. I remember sitting in front of a blue screen and crying
Wow.
because the words couldn't come out.
Mm,
Do it afraid. If
wow.
there were no limits, what would you do? If God said, just go ahead, I got you, just go ahead and do it. What would you do? There would be so many things that we would do, but we're the ones holding ourselves back.
That's it. That's it. Y'all take that moment and do it afraid. We still have to do this. Do it afraid. Oh my gosh. Well, we're in this thing of no limits. We're going after everything we want to go after in 2020, 2021, and beyond. All right. So Auntie Dana said, y'all, the phrase for today, we're doing it afraid. We are going to do it without limits. We're going to do it afraid. And so, as this is inspired by promise, before we depart, and I'm like so super sad that our time is up. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've had so many amazing moments. I want to know one thing that you have either you made a promise to yourself, you promised to yourself, or that you are going to promise yourself. What is that one thing that you say, hey, I promised myself this, or I will promise myself?
I promise. Sorry. I promise to make my future generations proud.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. And I must say, thus far, that you already are doing just that. You're making them proud, proud, and proud. You are a light. You are a beacon of light. You are amazing. You are totally awesome, inspirational, a go getter. You have such a wealth of knowledge, not just in knowledge base, but in wisdom. And I am so grateful that you are a part of my journey, as I call people that I call them family. You guys are a part of my journey, a part of my life, and I don't take it for granted, and I would not trade it for the world. And so, y'all, I hope that you have enjoyed this amazing, amazing time here at the Inspired by Promise. Auntie Dana is now a part of the Promise fam. Okay, you're gonna be able to see her, but in seeing her, I have.
Oh,
I know y'all probably like, now wait a minute, Ariel, we see you, but we don't see Auntie Dana because she's just gonna be Auntie Dana here on the channel. And you said, well, wait a minute. So, Auntie Dana, we're a little camera shy over here. Please fill us in because we have some more content coming. But what's coming up next? Because we don't see you on to that. But are we gonna
oh, okay. Well, okay. Truthfully, I was working in an organization or had a job that no one had to see me. All they had to do was hear me. So there
Mm.
was no reason to be Zoom ready. Okay, that's it.
Well, this is where Inspired by Promises comes in. Y'all know I have Leair's Boutique. So this is where Leair's Boutique is coming in. I am excited. Y'all know I love a good makeover. I love a good moment where I can be able to inspire in every area. So Auntie Dana is going to be doing a Leair's Boutique makeover. Woo-hoo. She's going to be doing some awesome things. So next time you see her and fill her in, listen, y'all know we love good fashion, all that good stuff on this channel. So the next time you guys see her on whenever, that's why you gotta subscribe. When she comes back, you'll see that she's in some Leair's Boutique. So I'm excited about that. Make sure you guys are subscribed, as well as everything in the description will be below how to subscribe to the Next Gen channel, as well as to keep noted on the amazing things that are going to be happening, as well as, with me as well. So you guys are going to get some more content. I'm glad I'm back with you guys. You'll be seeing some more things, and I'm glad to be able to, be back. That's how I feel. I'm happy to be back. So I love you guys. Continue to keep your promises to God in every area of your life. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Auntie Dana, any last words before we go?
I love you, everyone. Stay prayed up and be inspired by promise.
I love it. I love you more. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.